My name is Joe Connor. I'm the construction manager on the Maryland Dove. We are currently inside of the main cargo of the hold, right in the center of the boat. So directly above us is a large cargo hold, and then to the aft section of the ship, you can see a large bulkhead. That bulkhead is separating the main deck from the quarter deck. It will go up into the captain's quarters eventually, and then down will be into the engine room. What you see on the inside of the vessel here is what we call the shear clamps, and then this large timber up here is the actual beam shelf. The shelf is for these fir deck beams that you can see running over my head that will frame out the majority of the deck. The traditional 17th century vessel would have been planked all the way down in full ceiling planking. The reason that we're not putting that back is twofold. One, it's interpretive, so people are able to see how the planks are fastened to the boat. The other reason that we leave it open is for breathability, and that's kind of for the longevity of the vessel. The next step is lining off. Lining off is essentially taking the length of the frames down the hold, dividing them by the number of plank strakes that you've come up with, and figuring out what the widths on each frame are going to be. What ends up happening is you kind of end up with an orange peel looking plank strake that gets narrow on each end and is really wide in the middle. And once we've decided where the plank strakes are going to land on the frames, we can actually spile out. So spiling is a process of actually taking a pattern of what the plank's going to look like when it's bent onto the boat. Once we've applied the spiling, we've cut the plank out, we end up steaming it. With planking, we're relying on steam to heat up the cellular structure of the wood in order to allow us to twist it and shape it into whatever section of the hull we need it to go into. For our purposes is an inch an hour. So we've got 2 1/4 inch planks, so we leave the plank in for about 2 hours and 15 minutes. And once it's properly steamed, we have about 15 minutes to work it. Really the first 5 to 10 minutes, it's really malleable. The different species bend in different ways. White oak is an amazing material. Angelique is a little bit tougher to get to twist or do any kind of edge set. Then once the plank has been steamed on, we let it dry for a day. It comes off. There's a little bit of final fitting, and then it's time for fastening. We have a combination of silicon bronze bolts or lag screws. Traditionally, that would have been some kind of wrought iron rivet, and wrought iron and salt water don't really get along. The silicon bronze is just adding to the longevity of the vessel. Managing the moisture content of all the different parts and pieces is a big part of what we do through the process of building. It's the #1 reason for most successes and failures. What I'm talking about is how much water is actually in the wood. With that amount of water going in and out of the wood, it's really important to think about fit. In a lot of our smaller boats, the weight will double between when the boat is built and when it's completely swollen up. For that reason, about 2/3, which you can't see from the inside, but the outside has a large caulking bevel. And that caulking bevel allows space for the plank to expand without actually crushing the fibers in the seam. Please check out our website, marylanddove.org, cbmm.org. It has a shipyard specific page as well. And come down to the museum and see us. You make this possible, and my appreciation for that is enormous. So thanks again, and see you next time.